Will we have a screen seeing what's on?
I didn't know there was anyone live. Anyone doing that?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We don't have any guests joining live.
Okay. Aye.
Yeah, I don't have any, but we can.
We will call the meeting to order for the Skokie Public Library Board, Wednesday, December 11th, 6:30 p.m. There were no formal comments from observers
We have
submitted. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we'll move on to approve the minutes for the regular and closed session meetings of November 13th. Let's do the closed minute meetings first. Any corrections, edits? If not, can I have a motion to approve the closed minutes for November 13th?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Now the regular meeting minutes of November 13th. Any edits, additions? Not, can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that passes unanimously as well. On to the closed session meeting minutes. There are 6 sets of minutes. The recommendations are we open 2 of them and keep 4 of them closed. Any objections to that? If not, can I have a motion to open the meeting minutes for November 9th, 2022 and October 9th, 2024?
So moved.
Second, somebody?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. And then if I could have a motion to keep closed the minutes of September 10th, 2014, December 13th, 2017, February 10th, 2021, and March 10th, 2021.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And then, last but not least, motion to approve the destruction of audio recordings of the closed minutes. I'll go through the dates in a second. Are there any objections? As you know, this isn't required that we keep them, and they're all within 6 months. So, motion to destroy the audio recordings of the closed minutes for October 12th, 2022, October 20th, 2022, November 9th, 2022, December 14th, 2022, January 11th, 2023, February 15th, 2023, March 15th, 2023, and April 12th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you for that tedious business. On to the director's report.
Hey, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So the good news, as I mentioned last month as well, the Petty Auditorium is essentially finished. We had a wonderful first public event the night after Thanksgiving, and it featured violinist and young Steinway alumna Rachel Martin Pine, pianist Ken Wishner, and cellist Peter Chapanek. We had a great turnout. It was cold that night. I was there, and I was just so encouraged to see so many people come to the event. It was a beautiful evening. A lot of comments on the way out to me personally, and probably to other staff who were there, just commenting how they were so happy to be back in the Petty Auditorium and enjoying music together as a community. So I would say very successful project. We have a small number of punch list items just to kind of clean things up. I expect the project to come in under budget, and the final pay-up will likely be in January, so you'll see that next month. Good news, I mentioned, I think earlier in the year, maybe in the summer, that we were auctioning off some works from our permanent art collection that we really determined that we wouldn't really be displaying in the building anytime in the near future. So we've been working with an art consultant to auction some pieces off. We had a really good result from the first item, which was like a photographic facsimile of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, and brought in more than we expected, and then we also had a number of other pieces, paintings mostly, and a couple sculptures that went to auction on December 4th, and we just recently got the summary of that, and it was a good result, but a number of pieces didn't have any bids on them, so we'll have to see if we want to kind of re-auction them or find another way to de-accession them. But we also, maybe we'll just keep them in the collection for a little bit. So good news on that. And we also are talking with that same consultant, Gretchen Birch, about the possibility of acquiring a couple of new pieces. We have kind of a few feelers out to some galleries and artist representatives. And one of them in particular, we're really interested, I think among the art committee, we collectively ranked that one at the top of our wish list. And so I'll bring that, likely bring that information about that piece to the board in January. And I asked Gretchen Birch to actually come to the meeting that night to provide a little bit more context. This is the first time in a long time, since I've been here, that we really ventured out to acquire a significant piece of art. So I'm really excited, the art committee is really excited, the committee is excited about the transfer that the board had approved into the art fund earlier this fall. So I hope that you all are looking forward to that and pleased with the work that we are proposing in January. I know that when we first started the art committee, there was some interest on the board. I know Mary and you of kind of getting a glimpse into what we were thinking of before I even bring it to the board for a formal vote. Mary, if you or others want to learn more, and I can send you like maybe a packet of information about the piece itself and the artist and everything. So,
I'd love to get a
yeah,
sneak peek.
I know you have an
I was really
architecture
excited when I
background.
was helping out at the beginning, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, how many pieces did we end up auctioning off in this first round?
Good question. I don't have the number off the top of my head. Susie, do you recall? I want to say maybe.
I want to say 13.
13.
Okay.
I was going to say in the teens. Yeah.
And obviously you said here in the note that the auction was on December 4th, so I'm assuming we should get those I would like to see the summary of results. too,
Yes,
like when that
yeah.
happens, so.
We got an initial report, but everything wasn't resolved because the buyers didn't all yet make payment. So I think they're waiting to see that all come in, and then they'll give us like a final report. So,
That's exciting.
yeah, I'll send you some information. Again, if anyone else is interested, let me know and shoot me an email or something. Because I know, art, you kind of want to read about it and take it in a little bit. I'll provide that information in the packet next month.
So then that
Yeah.
2880, is that gonna go back into our, like, general operating fund, or is that, are you gonna set that aside, that allot it back into art?
Yeah.
What is?
Yeah, I mean, this is all new to us,
Yeah.
honestly, but I would suggest that it remain in the art fund, that towards new arts. That was intended anyway with our auction process.
Okay.
So, not just that amount, but the collective amount that's paid out from the other 13 items.
Okay.
If that's okay, I mean, if there's more discussion that needs to be had about that. That's
I just had one more suggestion. I think if we're looking at the artwork ahead of time, it might be good to also get like your team's proposal about where you envision it going
We'll
in the
include that,
library.
yeah.
I think that's important, like especially
For
when
sure.
you're considering size and the impact it'll have on the community. So kind of your overall vision of where the art would go and its purpose there would be
That's
good.
definitely been a big part of our conversation thus far, so we'll definitely. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. We had a good turnout for our holiday giving presentation. Two of our partner organizations came on and gave presentations, and so hoping that staff will contribute to local causes. We had a wonderful volunteer fair. I don't know if any of you were able to attend, but there were a lot of people there, so I don't know who was always there, but I think there were several hundred people in attendance, and lots of organizations, local organizations like spread out throughout the entire first floor, and in the Cosmos room, and the MR room, and just a lot of good kind of vibes for people from the community on a Sunday afternoon trying to find places to volunteer and serve the community. So I thought that was just nice to see. It was nice to see the entire first floor activated, so to speak, you know, and really kind of even the hallways and the street, as you call it. So let's see. A couple of events that I highlighted there. If you have any questions about any of those, I can speak to that. We had an interesting conversation with the village manager, John Lockerbie, and the chief of staff of Senator Billabong's office, and a couple of other local leaders about public transportation in Skokie. I know, Michelle, you and I have had a conversation about the mobility in Skokie and public transportation accessibility. And so I haven't forgotten about that, and we've initiated some conversations around that. The staff are also, one of our current strategic priorities is to explore ways to provide more services to people throughout Skokie outside of the building. So obviously we're not thinking of like a branch or anything like that, but a second smaller Sprinter van is something that we're exploring. So I just had a meeting actually today about that. And so I'll provide more information. We're just kind of like still in the exploratory phase of that discussion. But a lot of discussions about transportation and like access to not only the library, but other local service points, you know, for different organizations. So I'm excited about that, where that might be going.
And I'm definitely interested if there's anything that you need from me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be a part of it.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you an update. I'll reach out to you. Right now, there's really nothing to report as of yet, but yeah, it's a very, in the beginning
It's encouraging
stages.
to know that there are conversations being made about
Yeah.
that on like a smaller village level and also the bigger township.
Yeah. I've been learning more than I ever thought I learned about public transportation agencies and so a lot of interesting things.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a note about the chamber holiday party that's coming up tomorrow night. I know Bula's attending. If anyone else is interested, please let Susie know and we'll get you signed up. It's always a fun event and it's a nice time to connect with other local leaders. The last thing I wanted to comment on is the Slack update, the Illinois State Library Advisory Committee, and I'm a member of the committee, and there is, I think this is an important discussion, and I don't have anything to report as of yet, other than what I shared in my report. But I feel like in the next 6 months, there might be some significant discussions about potential budget concerns with the state library, because they receive 10% of their funding or their budget comes from revenue from the federal money from like it's the Institute of Museum and Library Services, MLS. So that's obviously, you know, with the changes federally, that might be at risk right now. So we'll have to see what happens. There's nothing obviously official right now, but that does have kind of like a domino effect on not only the state library, but our local regional systems, Rails, Heartland, down in southern part of Illinois, Chicago Public. And because it affects Rails, it would affect potentially us as well, because we not only get the per capita grant money from the state library, but we also benefit from services through our regional systems like continuing education, delivery of materials for interlibrary loan services. And other things that I mentioned, it's not a handful of things here, but if you want to learn more about that ahead of time, please let me know. Like I said, I'll continue to provide updates on what I hear and what I learn, but I think this is something to keep an eye on. It's kind of like peripheral to us, but it does, it will impact us in our communities. Any questions?
You had mentioned Pocket Talk in your summary.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's like it's basic. It basically looks like if you've ever had an old Apple iPod, like the old version, like the original, it looks like that. Yeah, it kind of looks like that, it's just like a rectangular device, and after the meeting, if you want to go to the information services help desk there, you can ask them to see it, and they'll pull it out, and basically, a person can talk into the device, and it provides a real-time transition. So, the Skokie, Amy, is it the Skokie police that are currently using it as well, do you remember?
That and well, at least one school district.
Okay, yeah, so I think we heard about it from either the police or that school district, and we thought there's a benefit to just easing translation, right, to make the environment and our services more inclusive and accessible for people who speak another language, English.
How many?
We have, what did we get, 5 or 6, I believe.
I think we got 3 to start. I know there's
Oh.
one that is currently living for use at the youth desk and one at the information services desk and then one at the west
Okay.
desk.
We're kind of piloting it, so I've heard that I've already spoken to some of us and I've heard positive things about how it works, and they've already been using it.
Would we need one on like a bookmobile?
So I believe that's one of the places that we would expand them to. My understanding is they're doing a smaller group pilot at some of the service points where we most frequently have requests for languages that staff don't speak, and then learn from there and then deploy with
Yeah.
more training.
Because I need something like that, like especially at like community events.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
This is one of, as you know, from our strategic updates, one of our current priorities as well, to respond to the language diversity in schools.
I had a question relating to that, because I know several months ago we launched like the multi-language tool on the website. Like, how has that been going? Are you getting any feedback on that at all, or?
I haven't heard anything as of late, but when it first launched, I definitely heard some positive feedback. I can check with Jane, our communications manager, to see if there was any new insight, but I don't know if Amy heard anything from public service staff.
Most of what I've actually heard has been from Nancy with community engagement, and that her team, as they're meeting with community groups introducing library resources, that's one of the first things that they highlight, and that's like one of the first things folks are like, oh my gosh, this is a game changer. So trying to proactively share it. I don't know about the discoverability as much, but yeah.
There's, the part of it is the language translation, but it's also the accessibility tools
Yeah.
that are really pretty robust.
It's really cool, like how you can change the font size and the colors, and you can hear it read to you as well, so.
Yep.
I thought the tool was really, really great,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we're excited about that too.
Other questions for Richard on his report?
Thank you.
Move on to approval of the November 2024 disbursement report, pages 6 through 10. Richard, anything you want to point out?
I don't think so. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just had a question under maintenance for item 1411 for the lawnmower expense, so I believe that was for like a snow blower.
Yeah.
Just wonder, how old is our snow equipment machine?
Well, we have more than one. Yeah, we have several snow blowers and we have a John Deere snow plow. Do you know more about the age? I can't
Four
remember.
snow blowers in John Deere.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I don't know the age, but they're
But they're
not.
all good working condition?
Yeah, and we
It's
keep,
just a tune-up.
Okay, yeah.
we keep them maintained every year, you know, so that we can get some long life out of them.
Okay.
Yeah. The John Deere is not a powerful machine, by the way. I don't want to overstate.
It sounds powerful though when you
Snowplowing,
say
it's
it.
more like snow nudging, you know. But it's helpful for sidewalks and that kind of.
Because I'm only asking just because I feel like the past maybe 2 winters have been pretty mild. We had that one a few winters ago where it was pretty intense. So just making sure that we have the adequate resources in
We
place.
definitely
to
want to be
everything.
prepared, yeah, we
Okay.
do, yeah. Those charges are a combination of maintenance for that.
Other questions?
Under 6250 for Blue Point Alert Solutions, is this like a monthly
An
fee?
annual,
Is that what that is?
annual monitoring fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an annual fee, this?
annual monitoring service.
Okay, so we'll see this again come next December.
Yes, yes. Well, it'll
Or
probably
November.
fall in December, but sometimes, people will later.
Are there any other fees that we have related to Blue Point other than this annual?
What else do we have?
There's the annual service contract, that's about $1,350 a year.
So there's maintenance, but then this is more of the monitoring, so it's a combination, but no other like installation fees or anything, because we've already paid for all that. And we don't have any plans to increase the pole stations or anything like that. And obviously, thankfully, we're not ready to use it since we so yeah, let's keep it
We
that
hope
way,
we never
right?
do
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
okay, just wondering if there
Yeah.
was more costs.
And Pocket Talk is also on there, is the same, is that annual, is it
No, that was just for
just for one-time purchase?
the items themselves, the protective cases, screen protectors, that kind of thing, and shipping. So it's all kind of combined into it.
So it's a one-time, we don't have a subscription for that.
Pocket Talk, I believe, is you just buy the device and that's it. There's no service, but it could be one.
That's my understanding
Okay.
too.
I had another question under utilities. It was for the Niles Township District 219
Yeah.
internet. What is the iNet broadband consortium? Like, what is that?
So I probably will get the history wrong, but I'll kind of give you the simplified version. Back when, many years ago, we had an effort to get broadband network speeds, right? And the village and D219, the local school districts and the library all partnered and benefited from the network that was laid. This is many years ago. And so the iNet consortium provides a strong network connection and capability for these different entities. Now, since then, it's administered by D219, the school district, because all the equipment and servers are over there. But since then, a lot of us, including the library, have supplemented that connection to like have more of a belts and suspenders approach, so that even if something goes down with iNet, we still have another service provider to provide a connection. So, but we don't we're still paying into that because it's all part of our overall network infrastructure, so.
So it's not just like our sole source of broadband, for example, it's just one component of
It's
it?
one component,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I can't recall the specifics, but our 2-year tech plan that I think the board looked at in maybe August or September has like a full explanation of that, so it's probably in your files as well if you want to read more about that.
Other questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve the November 2024 disbursement report?
So moved.
Second.
It's individual votes since it's spending. Mary?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes,
Ella?
Yes.
Tula?
Yes.
So that passes unanimous. Thank you. On to approval of construction pay-up number 5, page 11. Materials. Richard, anything you want to add?
No, it's just, hopefully the second to last pay app that you'll see for the Petty project. You notice there's no pay app for the frequency AV contractor because that was completed last month, so. There's this payment and then there's the balance to finish that you see in number 9, line 9 on the pay app. And I just talked to our project manager at Chip, and she thinks that we'll be able to close everything.
Okay, any questions about pay application? If not, can I have a motion to approve Petty Auditorium construction pay-up number 5 at total cost of $38,896.10?
So moved.
Second.
Individual vote again, Mary?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Michelle?
yes,
Ella?
Yes.
Lula?
Yes.
That passes unanimously as well. On to the consent agenda, pages 13 through 33. Richard, anything you want to highlight?
The public services mid-year report is included and it's on page 22. And I want to highlight that. Amy Kuster, our Director of Public Services, is obviously here and can speak in more detail about any areas that you'd like to hear a little bit more about. I just also want to point out our longtime staff recognition, our ongoing effort to recognize staff who have been here for many years. And if you have any questions about that, Laura can speak on that. And Laura can also highlight a couple of things on those three folks if you'd like, Laura. And then just also one other thing, the debt service schedule on page 16. That's there's nothing, no action needed or anything. That's just more information just to keep up with where we stand with our 2019.
The 20-year bond.
Yeah, repayment, so we'll provide that once a year. It's also obviously mentioned in the audit that just was accepted last month. So if you have any other questions, please let me know.
Amy, anything you want
I'm just excited to share with all of you, it's a year now that my position was created and all public services is under a singular umbrella and looking at the services across departments. So I was excited to be able to present a picture in one spot for all of you of just the sheer breadth of the services that this team does across all ages and all sorts of types of things, from materials to service at desks to programming to just having spaces available. So hope it gives a fuller picture, because I know you see programming updates each month, but that's just a sliver.
And you should read that quote on page 1. Do you want to read it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So the team comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking through what is something that can just say right off the bat, the value of public services. And so this is a teen who sent an email to our teen services manager and librarians after she had just finished her high school graduation, sending her thanks and said, "Whenever I found myself in need of help, you were the first people I thought of, and turning to the Skokie Library where you all work was always the best decision."
Anyone? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I love that, and I love seeing that was from a teenager.
Right.
It speaks such volumes, because clearly this person is not just someone who came once or twice, right? I can envision this person having this kind of relationship with the library from being very young, as they grow older, and just how much this entire library and the people that work here really influence this person. So I think it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And it really speaks to the relational approach that we try to take across all of public services and really all of our services throughout the library. Because it's about the person, not just the thing that they're looking for. And so to have a high schooler who has just finished, is now on summer break before they go to college, to stop and want to send a thank you note to Miss Laurel and Miss Rachel and Miss Grace, it just really means a lot.
And that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And I just think to myself, gosh, I'm so glad that we are here as part of this, right? That it's greater than just one person. And then I also thought to myself, gosh, that parent really raised that child, right? So thank you for that.
I just wanted to say that every time I wear my Skokie Library t-shirt, one of the, handful that I have, there's always a comment about how great the library is. But I also want to say, when I was looking through the board packet and I saw the picture of this young girl, she was in my son's class.
Oh.
And I told her today, I'm gonna send you a picture of this. And she was so proud, she told her mom. Her name's Shawnee, she's the best.
Yeah, that's our giant library card for folks who have gotten their first library cards. One of the really exciting things, if you've never peeked in the kids' room, just inside the entryway by the courtyard, there's a whole picture wall of kids gleefully holding the giant card because they just got their library card.
Well, and as you mentioned, this is your first year since the reorg and your 50 staff members. Amazing job and the breadth of what you guys have taken.
Thank you. Really, thanks also to all of the support. The feedback that you all hear from community members to help make sure that we're hearing as much as we possibly can. And yeah, it's a joy and a pleasure for me to do this work, and I know that my team feels similarly impassioned, so thank you. On to your thanks.
Passion shows.
Amy, I had a quick question. First of all, also like kudos for this. It was so great to read it. And I don't know if I saw it here or in LinkedIn, but there's a position for the art, like a community artist in residence.
Yes.
And I was so excited to see that and intrigued, really cool to see that model. And I was just curious if that's something new that the library's trying. I know like the Chicago Public Library or the city, the cultural system kind of has like artists in residence. I was just wondering if you could talk more about it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I'm excited you noticed. If you know any local artists, please encourage them to apply.
I shared it on LinkedIn.
I did too.
Great,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, they were like all over it.
Like, yes, I like this.
Yeah.
That's good.
So back in, I want to say 2015 or 16, we had a mini grant from the Association for Library Service to Children to, it was our first pilot with an artist in residence, and that was geared specifically at kids. And after the success of that, as we started doing the master space plan and started envisioning the studio, we knew that having artists in residence, makers in residence was something we wanted to pursue. Best laid plans slightly diverted by things like COVID closures. But we're at the point now where Marnie Balint, who's the experiential learning supervisor, has been working with Amy Holcomb, the learning experiences manager, who's the one who opened the studio, to look at what are ways that we can engage the community in this way. So this will be our first official one, meant to be the pilot and launch of what should be much broader over time. So we're really excited to hear how creative folks in our community think about other ways to utilize and activate the space.
And the good news is that, just as you can see from the report, the studio is really
Poppin'.
yeah, there's just so much life and activity in the studio and all types of different equipment being used and art being created, and so it's just kind of gonna take it to the next level visually. So.
Yes.
That was a key takeaway when I looked at this, and I thought it was so interesting. When you look at the stats for the studio, the number one utilized thing, it's not even necessarily a piece of equipment it's in there, it's people coming in to do their own independent art projects and general use. So to me, that speaks to a variety of needs that we could meet, right? Like, I mean, there's so many projects I would like to do at home, but I don't necessarily have the space for them. So knowing that I can have a special table at the library I could come to is really great. But it just makes me wonder too, like the types of art projects people are doing. Are they doing weaving? Are they doing painting? Like what are other types of activities that we could, you know, what are patrons really interested in? How can we service those needs? If they're already using the space, like how can we facilitate that even more?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest ways, seeing how folks are using it or the things they're asking about, that we look at developing new offerings. So things like the button maker, the laminator, those were brought in because of specific requests as folks were working on like mini collage or scrapbooking, things like that. Homecoming proposal posters, that was a thing this fall. Yeah, both in the studio and in the teen room. So, you know, and some of it is like group project sort of thing, they're working on their poster together. But it really does run the gamut, and some of it will be someone who like first used the laser to etch something wood, and then they're coming in to do some of the like model paint on it afterwards. So it's not just about the materials we're providing, but that space and like, I created it here, I'll keep working on it here.
Amy, I do have a question in regard, well, more of a comment, a little bit of a question in regard to the study spaces. So I noticed today as I walked in, there were a lot of high school and middle school students who were using the study spaces and studying in groups. Did you all do a special push for finals week? Because I heard a lot of them talking about finals.
Yes, we do a special push for finals every fall semester and spring semester. And next week, when it's really the crux of it, these are the early studiers for a lot of the public school kids. Next week, we also have the Cosmos room on the first floor near the teen room as a study hall,
Oh,
additional
Don't we get like
space.
snacks and stuff? and-
Yeah. Yeah, do snacks,
Aw.
life support, yeah.
That's so cool.
So this week and next are when folks, adults who work from home are well served to use the rooms during the middle of the day. After school hours, they're willing to be as teenagers in there.
And I love reading about just the library card drive at the schools, like those are some major numbers of new registrants. I
Yes.
thought that was really, really great. I love that.
Yeah, thank you. That's been one of the strategies of trying to be able to have more staff. You know, a lot of the schools right after COVID closures weren't having outside folks come visit. And so really trying to say yes, especially to events where there are students and families new to Skokie are there, so that one of their first touch points in addition to school is with the library, both for the library card, but also just that welcome.
Do you take the big library card with you to those drives?
That's a great question. I don't know that.
That'd be fun, you could get like
Yeah.
the classroom photo with the
Yeah.
card, you know, I just feel like that would I would
Yeah.
be excited as a child to see the big library
Yes,
card.
and we do,
It would
that
be
is,
cool.
especially for elementary kids, that's always one of the big props for
Yes.
our pre-summer visits at the end of the school year is having something big. Because it is like, I don't know, oversized is just magical. Oversized or teeny tiny, right?
Yeah. I think it's cool, if you're not bringing along, I think that would be neat to have,
Yes.
to take to those.
Yeah, I'll check and see
I-
what,
I-
if that's
I
part of their
think we do,
supplies.
but if we
Yeah.
don't, we should, yeah.
Well, if there are other things you're curious about, you know, it's a mini report, there will be an annual one too, it might not be that long. But I was just excited to really have everything in one place to start. But what you're looking to understand, that's what I want to make sure we're presenting, so, thank you.
Yeah, great job.
Laura, did you wanna highlight the three or Leah, or either one of you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this month we had 3 people who've all been here between 10 and 20 years, closer to 20 still, because we're just dipping into the 10-year people. But Annabelle, who you've met when she's come to talk about the collection, started here through an internship program and then went and worked some places and then came back to us and has been here ever since. And just loves all things collection. And then Carl, I wanted to highlight, he told us a story about how his family had moved here and his parents both work, so his grandmother would take him and his sibling to the bookmobile every week. And that's why he describes himself as a bookmobile success story, because he grew up going to the bookmobile, loving the bookmobile, and now he's the bookmobile supervisor. So it's come all the way around. And then Raphael, who started through a vocational program here and decided when a job opened up that he was gonna try for it, even though it was a little out of his comfort zone, and really working here has just sort of expanded what he feels like he's capable and able to do, so that was pretty heartwarming too, so stay tuned for more stories in coming months.
Love it.
Thank
Well,
you.
special shout out to Annabelle because she started out shelving books. And as you know, that was my first job ever, a library page, so I felt that connection, so I was really excited about that. But really, what really struck me about her story was talking about the Rolodex. I forgot those things even existed until she mentioned it. I'm like, oh, we did have like a Rolodex on our desk back in the day. So that was interesting just to see how the technology has changed from when she first entered the library world to where we are now. Shout out to everyone, but Annabelle has a special place. Library pages.
Yes.
I still have I have a Rolodex in my office.
You do?
There's a lot of us
I don't
are
actually
transfer
use
those
it.
records right there. There's a lot of them you might.
No, it's actually, I have it down from Carolyn, so like, I thought it was just so cool, I can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
If you wanna reminisce, you can come up to my office.
Give it a
spin.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments on the consent agenda? If not, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, thank you all for that. Page 34, approval of the 2025 Lyra insurance renewal. Going up, Richard?
Yeah, it's going up a little. Last year, it slightly went down, I believe, but this year it's definitely going up. So I mean, my memo covers the highlights or the basic information that you need. We're part of this insurance pool, obviously, and this is more not for health insurance, it's for property, liability, D&O, directors and officers, workers' comp, so it's all the business insurance coverages. And so I'm on the executive committee of this program, and I continue to just hear from the administrators the state of the hard market for insurance these days, and I kind of point out some of the reasons for that, like the extreme weather that we've been having across the country, honestly, that affects the carriers that are providing quotes on our package. So yeah, I mean, it's just the reality for the insurance market. I think our administrators do a great job of going out and seeking multiple quotes and really shopping around for the best coverages. And so I'm happy with what they produced. It is an 8% increase, but honestly, these if they weren't shopping around and kind of doing that work that they do, it could easily be higher, up to 15+% for the level of coverages that we require as a pool. So, but by being in a pool, we leverage that sheer number of organizations and the total exposure to hopefully get good quotes and rates from carriers. So, if you have any questions, please let me know. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. This is something, I just have to mention, this is something that we do need. We need insurance, we can't operate it without it. So this is the time of the year when the renewal comes in and it covers all of 2025. So if you have any questions, be happy to share more information. Mary asked me before if we take advantage of the value-added resources like the loss control services, the water sensor monitoring system, the iSolar signage, the other claims kit directory and claims directory. We take advantage of all of
Okay,
that.
good, because I'm like, we're paying for it, I mean, we should use
Absolutely.
everything here. What is the iSolert signage?
It's literally a sign that we affix to some exterior walls around our property, and there's like an indicator that turns blue when it reaches freezing temperatures. So when
Okay.
people exit the building into the parking lot, our staff especially can see, and our patrons too, can get a sense of, okay, I should be careful, watch out for ice on the ground.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever noticed those signs before, that's why I was
Yeah.
asking.
We have one in the one I see most often is the one for the staff entrance near the loading.
Yes.
It's a very simple sign. It's not like a digital fancy sign or anything. It's literally just has a thermometer on it.
And then the water sensor monitoring system,
Yeah.
where's that stuff located?
In the basement, they're like little hockey pucks essentially,
Yeah.
they're connected to they're wired, so that if water hits them, an alert immediately goes out to not only our staff here, but it goes out to administrators of the Lyra program. So they get like text messages when one of the properties in the Lyra program have a potential danger of water damage or water flooding. So it helps us if it ever goes out for us, we'll catch it early, we'll address the situation, and we're not kind of like catching it like 12 hours after the water is like rising in the basement. So it's in our sub-level of the basement.
Yeah, thanks for answering that, I saw those, I was like, oh, that's a lot of.
Yeah, it's nice, yeah.
Other questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve the 2025 Lyra insurance renewal at a total annual cost of $130,859.82?
So moved.
Second.
Right, and it's money, so Mary,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Ella,
Yes.
Ula,
Yes.
that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you all. On to the revised ALA Code of Ethics, pages 38 through 40.
I think this is pretty straightforward. The ALA Code of Ethics is a document that the board actually adopts as a formal policy essentially. And when I was looking at, we're doing an ongoing policy review throughout the year, and this one came up on our calendar, our schedule, and I noticed that the Article 9 wasn't included in the one that the board had previously adopted, so just would like to add that, amend that, and revise the document that the board actually adopts. The rest of the Code of Ethics was the same.
Questions, comments?
I thought it was a timely addition, and I think having this language here will be really grounding and useful to go back to as we move forward.
I was amazed to see the original language was proposed and passed in 1930.
Yeah.
So, it just kind of shows how these kind of key principles and things that really ground libraries, it's still as relevant today as it was in 1949.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that moved me as
Yeah.
well, yeah.
I
We need reminders, and it was just refreshing also to just read this through and to see the amended point. It's very reassuring.
ALA has a long history to it, and obviously libraries have a long history in this country, and so yeah, there's the values of librarianship are important, obviously. That's what the work we do. Like you said, I like the way you said it, it grounds us, and so yeah, they're important to recognize and freshen up.
Other questions, comments? Not motion to approve the revised ALA Code of Ethics as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Page 41, approval of patron privacy and confidentiality policy.
Yeah, this is a new policy, as I mentioned in my memo, but they're not new ideas. It's basically taking 3 existing policies and taking a lot of the ideas and the concepts and creating a single policy that covers all of that. It did, a lot of the policies, several of the policies that were funneled into this one had not been updated in quite some time. So we did take a fresh look at everything, and we also obviously ran this by our attorneys and had them comment and advise on some language. So what you see before you is something that I feel like really covers us in a legal sense, but also in a policy, operational sense of when it comes to patron privacy and confidentiality. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I summarized some of the sections here, but obviously the policy speaks for itself as well. So hopefully it was clear.
Is it typical that in library board policies that it's kind of lumped into one? How we have 3 separate ones and then they're kind of merged?
I think
Like
the ones,
best practice?
yeah, I think the ones I've seen from other libraries tend to have like this. Yeah, and it's just easier to maintain and revise, so that's the main reason for us. It's more of a practical thing. So,
I'm glad that it says the library cannot guarantee privacy.
we strive to see.
Yeah, no, and to me, that's an important point. You guys are too young to remember back when Carol and Anthony took on the Privacy Act, federal government, after 9/11.
Yeah. With the
Where they
Patriot.
wanted library records of who's reading what dangerous books and all that. We didn't go along with it, but nonetheless, when we had security person came to the board a long time ago, talked about how somebody comes into our system and changes anything, we would know it, which is important. But if somebody comes into our system and just looks around and makes copies of everything, we wouldn't necessarily know it. So we can't, we'll do everything we can to maintain privacy and confidentiality, but we can't guarantee we'll never get hacked or something. So I just thought it was important to acknowledge that privacy.
And this, yeah, I think that's important to point out, and I mentioned the technology plan earlier. Mark, our Cassie, our IT manager, and Laura look into our privacy and security in terms of network security, as well as Dave Nelson, our network administrator. The efforts that they all put into maintaining a secure network is crucial.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have him back again.
Sure.
I don't think any of you guys were on board.
Yeah, you can put it on
It's worth
the,
hearing.
I think January might be a light, actually.
And then we can talk about MFA and implement.
There you go. Yeah, we're implementing a multi-factor authentication for all staff.
Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
It's been in use for a number of staff, but we're
Yeah.
making sure everyone now is
That's
covered.
smart.
And it's to be expected, I mean, these days,
Everything.
everyone,
Yeah.
MFA everything, right? It's-
Yeah, yeah.
It takes me 5 minutes to log into every account, because I'm like, but it's secure. Or at least, we try to use that to be secure. So.
I have a quick
Yeah.
question about, and I don't know if it falls under this
Okay.
particular policy, but in this age of, everyone's a content creator and people are doing TikToks and stuff like that, is there an official, rules around people recording? Are people free to walk around and record, or is there a sense of needing to ask permission, or is it pretty much just if you're here, you consent to showing up in someone's TikTok or something? I don't know, I'm just curious if that's come up or if you've had any issues with that.
We haven't had, to my knowledge, significant issues or conflicts between patrons about that, but I'm not saying it never happens, but nothing really.
Nothing major, yeah.
Yeah, but the summarized answer to that question, because we could talk about that for a while,
Sure, yeah. and-
is that this is a public space.
Right.
You see, so
Okay.
people are allowed to take photographs and take videos in our space. There are limitations to that though, right? So they can't go and do that to where it may invade someone's privacy, or say in places where there's an expected privacy level, like restrooms, obviously.
Sure, yeah.
Or staff only areas, that's why we're very careful to mark staff only on our staff offices and workrooms. And we have some language around, we're kind of guarding against people using the library and filming a movie here, like a commercial,
Right.
project or whatever. And so in our appropriate library use policy, we have language that says, commercial video shooting and photography need to be approved by the administration. So, but generally speaking, we can't prohibit someone from pulling out their phone and just taking pictures, and it hasn't been an issue.
Curious, thanks.
Good question though, yeah, we talk about that a lot here, because
Yeah.
it does come up. And we have to be prepared so that our staff know what to respond to and how to respond to, and what not to respond to, right, so.
And if someone's doing it in a manner, I talk with staff about this all the time at public services, if they're doing it in a manner that's disrupting others' ability to use the library, then the disruption is the issue, it's not the filming.
Right,
Okay.
and that's all covered under our appropriate library response.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question.
I had two things. Number one, I was really happy to see that we're having, because I think patron privacy is of the utmost importance. I think it's really, so I'm glad we have a policy. Secondly, I guess my question is to employee training regarding confidentiality of patrons. Like, how does that typically happen? I guess not just within regards of this policy, but I guess I'm thinking within all the corporate jobs that I have had, there's always ongoing training regarding phishing scams and things that you get, you know, to make sure that people aren't accidentally, like, someone on the staff gets an email and they click on a link and then that exposes the, like, do you guys do ongoing training, not only regarding the policy if it were implemented, but how to look out for those things and what you do if you accidentally do something that could
I can quickly address the second part of that question by saying, yes, we do have education and emails and training about cybersecurity essentially, and Mark had that would be another topic that Mark can speak on at a length when he visits the board meeting, maybe in January. So we definitely do that. And Leah, do you want to talk about like onboarding and how we incorporate like the patron privacy into that, and especially for the folks who have access to our iOS?
Yeah, so as a part of orientation, we do go through the ALA Code of Ethics one by one and talk about them, and a big, that is the entry point to talk about patron privacy. We also talk a lot, so the Illinois Library Records Act is a law, so it's incredibly important for anyone who has access to our integrated library system to fully understand what that means. So that's a part of their onboarding through the orientation into their on-the-ground training with their direct supervisors as well.
Okay, great.
We take it very seriously.
Yes, but it's a big part of what we do.
I have a question about video usage, so like, you know how we have our security cameras on our closed circuit. Is that included in this patron privacy?
No, we have a separate video surveillance policy.
Yeah, I went in and I looked at that, and it seems like there isn't, other than a FOIA request, there's not really anything, there's no wordage. I guess the same applies to requests from law enforcement for remote access to the library's district surveillance systems when applicable. Is that kind of
Yeah, it all
falling
falls
under the
under,
same thing? Okay,
well, the same form that we use
okay, I
to
just
provide any
make sure
kind
that
of
we're like,
information.
making sure that
Mhm.
if it's not covered in one area, it's covered in another.
Right,
As far as
right,
making sure that, you know, getting hands on our
Yeah,
surveillance system.
it's
is still
definitely
protecting
not,
patron privacy.
right, we're not loose with that at all, you know, and our safety staff actually are usually the point of contact, but they, even that needs to be escalated to Laura or myself, honestly, to approve anything like that, so, or release or sharing the footage. So this form that is attached to this policy would actually be something that we can use for any instance where there's a request for information, or that's when a court order is in play. So,
Okay. And like redacting spaces, all those kinds of things.
yeah, honestly, if we have any footage that shows any particular use of like a say the cover of a book even, or like the screen of someone checking out materials or whatever, like we wouldn't release that. So we're very careful about that.
Okay.
And we design actually our video surveillance system so that it doesn't actually capture that level of detail. Like we're not looking to see what's on people's screens, you know. It's more of like general movement throughout the library. So, I don't know, Laura, if you wanted to say anything more about that. Am I missing anything?
Okay, how many subpoenas or police requests have we actually got?
Subpoenas and police court orders, I could think of one maybe since my time here. But for general police requests, we have had a number, you know, but usually it's more on the level of like a missing person type thing, or I don't know, do you want to
Yeah, that's come up a couple times. Yeah, there hasn't really been anything that's risen to that extreme level.
Yeah. And if there's ever if we kind of questionable situation and we're not sure how to handle or respond, you know, we have our lawyers on speed for this, so I mean, we get them involved and they guide us through how to respond. Because like Leah said, the library record is confidential, it's a law, so we need to consult a legal team to, if there's any question about how we should respond.
Thank you.
Other questions? Can I have a motion to approve the patron privacy and confidentiality policy as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Given we've approved that, then the next motions are about rescinding the 3 policies that were combined into the new policy we just approved. Richard, anything to point out about that?
I think it's covered, it's, yeah, we don't need those policies anymore.
Right. Any questions about those? All right, Susie, can I just combine the motions here?
Maybe we should take them one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're listed separately on the agenda.
All right, so motion to approve the rescission of the website privacy policy. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the rescission of the retention of records policy.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And motion to approve the rescission of responding to search warrants and subpoena policy.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, those are all rescinded.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to ILCS 122C1 regarding the compensation performance of a specific employee. I have a motion for that, to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?